DJ LeRoy.
NightWatchman. How you doing, buddy?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, good. So you know what? I'm feeling art. That's what I'm feeling. What about you?
Absolutely.
So you know what? We need to get it popping. We need to find out about this Harlem Fine Arts Show because you know that they're in their 15th year, man. Can you believe that?
15th anniversary.
That's right.
That's a milestone.
Absolutely.
You can do anything in New York for 15 years straight. You're doing something.
You know what? I think we've been doing Soul Lounge for about 15 years
About
or
that,
more.
yeah, absolutely.
So you know what? I guess in welcoming guests, why don't we also bring on one of our veterans here at Soul Lounge Prime Time, and that is none other than artist and curator, Miss Misha McGlown. Hey!
Welcome back. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So you know, I always have to start to find out here or Detroit.
Here, I'm in Harlem.
That's right.
Yes. welcome. Beautiful. Well, I definitely actually have to give some major props to a Marissa Mack. Marissa Mack is the one who literally planted the seed of this show. So major props. And one of the first women to actually tell me about was actually the president, I guess. Well, she'll tell us more in terms of the local chapter or the national chapter of AKAs. And that, of course, is Miss Michelle Hardy. Hey, Michelle.
Welcome.
Hello, thank you.
Absolutely.
Good to see you. Thank
Likewise.
you for having me on the show, DJ LeRoy, who I know as Curtis, and NightWatchman. Thank you both for having me on the show.
Absolutely. And Bob, if I'm just going to back up for 1 second, is your sister Pam also an AKA?
Absolutely. Yes.
Sweet.
So you know, of course, Michelle is going to be extra nice to you. I know this. So
yeah, because I didn't try to marry a Delta.
Yeah, he lost points with that one.
Y'all are so bad. No,
I love all my Divine Nine sorors and my brothers of the different fraternities of the Divine Nine. I love them all. Big up to the Deltas, Delta Sigma Theta, and our brothers, my Alpha brothers. Big up to them. Yes.
All right. Well, you know what, Michelle? Before we bring this next guest out, all right, I got to know now. Are you nice to him because he's an Alpha? You know, your brother fraternity, or he's just that divine?
Well, actually, I didn't know him as an Alpha. I met him through the Harlem Fine Arts Show, which I've been supporting for the last 15 years in Harlem. It started years ago in the Armory on 143rd Street, which is 2 blocks from my house. So my daughter and I have been enjoying the art shows for the last 15 years, and they've really blown up into a phenomenal event.
Oh, man. Okay, so without further ado, the founder, and now in the 15th year, Mr. Dion Clarke. Dion.
Welcome.
Well, my pleasure. I'm excited about, again, getting the opportunity to come on your show. And besides that, bring back the Harlem Fine Arts Show for the 15th year. It's been challenging with the pandemic and a lot of the things that we've been doing, but it seems like we've navigated the right way, and we're ready to bring some cultural nutrition back to the city of New York.
Excellent. Well, you know what? I definitely have to then find out, Dion, this particular significant partnership with the AKAs. How did that come about? Michelle, what do you guys weigh in? Let me know.
Well, we always try to find a beneficiary that's a strong component of the African American community. We find a way to be able to link their everyday operations and giving back to the particular sorority or fraternity, and build it in with the monthly or the quarterly or whatever show that we're actually doing. And I know the AKAs are strong. They've been doing some great things in the, again, New York area. This is 17 chapters that are really going to be involved with us. And Michelle was the spearhead. We've known each other for a number of years in regards to her just coming to the show. And we kind of collaborated. We talked about it, and then we came up with something that would be a win-win-win to really empower the AKAs, the community, and of course, the Harlem Fine Arts Show.
Wow. Michelle?
Yeah, well, as president of the Tau Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, uplifting our community is one of our major initiatives. We are an organization that serves our community, and we believe in connecting our community dwellers in the village of Harlem with the arts and culture. So this was a perfect venue to work with the Harlem Fine Arts Show and raise awareness around all the collection of arts from across the country and maybe even globally. This is a phenomenal show, and we're excited to be hosting the first night, which is Friday, February 24th. And we hope that everyone in the sound of my voice will join Tau Omega at that show.
Very nice, very nice. Well, Misha, as a curator and artist yourself, you of course were familiar with the Harlem Fine Arts Show, and do tell me. Okay, so tell me about your experience with them.
I've attended. I have not been in the past couple of years, so I definitely look forward to attending, participating, hopefully collaborating in the future. My work has primarily been with City College Center for the Arts here in New York. And as you know, I've been in Detroit, but I'm very interested in bridging an artistic gap between Detroit and Harlem. I find so many historical similarities between both places. So yeah, hopefully we can come together and work together, but I'm really looking forward to this show and sharing the news about it, not just here in Harlem, but also back in Detroit, and get some of our Detroit artists to participate as well.
I think that would be a great idea, and I think you hit the nail right on the head in regards to this is all coming out of the Harlem Renaissance in the early 1900s, when again the Harlem Renaissance kicked in and started really developing, and artists started traveling all over the United States. And you see that influence in Detroit, in Chicago, of course, down south. But again, this was the Mecca in terms of, again, Harlem, and some of the great artists as well as entertainers that really came out during that segment to really kind of spread that word throughout the United States.
Right.
Nice. Well, Dion, I have to know. Okay, so we're now at 15th anniversary. So tell me about the beginning.
Okay, and the beginning was fun, and it's fun right now too. The beginning was, I have to really kind of note that the Harlem Fine Arts Show is a hybrid of this show that used to take place in the Puck Building called the National Black Fine Arts Show. It was run by a gentleman by the name of Jocelyn Wainwright and Stedman Graham, and they started developing the concept, and it was in this small room in called the Puck Building in Lower Manhattan that the fire really started. I was fortunate enough to work in their marketing department and develop relationships with them. And when they decided to cease and desist and not do the gallery type of show that it was originally structured, as we took the show over in terms of JWD Enterprises, and that's the company that runs the Harlem Fine Arts Show. And we took it over. We developed a new concept with our partners in regards to this being more of an artist-oriented show. And as Michelle said, we kicked it off on 143rd Street Armory. This was about 15 years ago. And we were strong. There was about 20 to 25 artists. There was about 100 to 200 people. And I guess the high note there was Gail King came off out of a car. She came in the 143rd Street Armory, and I want this piece, and I want this piece. And it really kind of inspired everybody there. Here was somebody really coming and reaching out, and that started the fire. And from that, we looked for a home, and we found a home over at Riverside Church. And we've been at Riverside Church for the last 14 years and just growing, and started to be 500. And by the time we were in the third year, we were bringing about 10,000 people through our doors over a 3-day period of time. And what we really celebrated was cultural nutrition. We empowered the community, we empowered the artists, and we brought some type of art that has not traditionally been able to be showcased on that type of grand platform. And it really worked. From there, we started traveling around the country, and we've become the largest traveling African Diasporic art show in the United States.
So Dion, on that, let's say, what are the cities of note that we will find the Harlem Fine Arts Show in?
Well, we're in Chicago, we're in Atlanta, we're in Washington, D.C., we're in Philadelphia. And our artists come from all around the country, because it's just not one consistent troupe of artists that come. Different artists apply for different regions. We have some galleries that travel with us on an ongoing basis, but we bring the best of the best to the table, and really not only do a great art show, but we have lecture series. We have educational types of opportunities. We salute our unsung heroes like African Americans in medicine. We do an array of things to make it a festival, but salute the arts and really kind of hold a great reverence for the art community, because when everybody was suffering in the pandemic, the artists were really suffering a little bit more. And again, this is the time to come out and buy Black art, empower your artists, and really just have a great time with the show and the components of the show.
And I'm kind of like thinking, so let's say I'm a community leader in, let's say, Nashville, Memphis, whatever, another town
Or
that
Detroit.
or Detroit that has not yet had the Harlem Fine Arts Show. So you would take that in consideration, see whether or not there's some synergy and partnerships, and possibly bring it to that city?
And that's exactly what we do. We develop partnerships. We develop the 3 days out a year in advance. We find out how to market it, the correct location, because location is key in this particular instance, and being able to find a safe haven for our artists to be able to come to feel comfortable, so they can interact, meet and greet the consumers, and sell some great art.
Gotcha. NightWatchman, what are you thinking? I remember distinctly when we were actually newbies to Harlem. I remember the Harlem Fine Arts Show there at the Puck Building. You remember that as well?
I remember at the Armory. I don't remember.
I remember the Puck Building.
Yeah. But
go ahead.
Well, I wanted to ask Dion, what is your process for locating and selecting the artists that are going to participate?
We go through a jury process. We have we reach out through social media. We develop lists. We actually contact the artists. We find out a little bit about what they do, what type of art they have a specialty in, and then they'll send us some of their images. We put the images before a group of individuals, and last but not least, we invite the individuals to come and really kind of showcase their work at the show. And it's not just at the show, but it's also like a marketing component in terms of social media beforehand. They get a real 360 type of marketing program to be impactful and grow as professional artists.
Gotcha. And certainly, Michelle, we bandied about with certain language that I guess the general public may not necessarily know. So when we hear like Divine Nine, so I need you to actually let me know what's the genesis of that, and also the genesis of one of the first, I guess, sororities in the U.S., the AKA. So tell me about that.
Well, let me share a little history. So the Divine Nine is comprised of sororities and fraternities, Black sororities and fraternities, and Kappa Alpha is one of them. And we were started on the campus of Howard University in 1908. We just celebrated our Founders Day on January 15th, and I celebrated in Washington, D.C. But Tower Mega Chapter, which I serve currently as president, has been the oldest chapter in the Metro New York area. So we're about to celebrate our 100th anniversary.
Wow.
In
Congrats.
2025. 100 years of serving the Harlem community. So we do things like, for example, we have an initiative called Uplift Your Community. We have another one, empowering your family, strengthening and empowering your families. So I just visited a school in Harlem, New York, a middle school, where we're going to be serving as mentors with middle school age girls in that particular school, and bringing them closer to an understanding and embracing things like the arts and culture. So we do a lot of service in the community. MLK Day, we worked with the Alphas of Alpha Phi Alpha sorority, another member of the Divine Nine. And we, on that service day, we actually packaged up care packages to send to local shelters. So people donated canned foods and clothing. So that's what the Divine Nine represents. And thank you for this opportunity to share that, because we are about service in our community and empowering, strengthening, and just making our local communities stronger and better.
Very nice, very nice. As a matter of fact, you know what, Michelle, this is not going to be a test, but give me a few notable sorority sisters. One of them, of course, I know is, after all, isn't that the vice president?
Vice President of the United States of America. Yes, she is our sorority sister. And I'm proud to say that at the Founders Day in DC, we just inducted as an honorary member Patti LaBelle.
Oh my God! Right. Yes.
And Gladys Knight is amongst honorary members, and Felicia Rashad is one of our members. So those are just to name a few.
Wow. So NightWatchman, when we hear that, sisters run the world, we're true here, huh?
Oh, you didn't know that?
If he didn't know, he knows now.
Absolutely. And you know what? Misha McGlown.
Yes.
Okay, so back and forth, Harlem, Detroit. I have to know in terms of, so you already heard Dion is open for collaboration. And so are you currently collaborating with any other organizations that we should know about? And you are in a position uniquely that can bring, let's say, the Harlem Fine Arts Show to Detroit?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
And, I'm very interested in starting that conversation now. As soon as possible. I'm sure you're quite busy getting ready for this year's show, but immediately thereafter. Right now in Detroit, first of all, as you may know, there is no shortage of space or venues, and it is a very robust art market with just tons of remarkably talented artists. Through my gallery there this past year, I was just kind of tallying up the work we did this past year, and we showed the work of more than 135 local artists throughout the year. So there's really a lot of talent there in Detroit, in the greater Detroit area, and a very dedicated, serious, and robust community of collectors. And we really just want to bring more people from other places in Detroit, not just art enthusiasts and collectors, but artists as well, and provide opportunities for those artists to show their work in other markets also.
Well, Misha, I'm going to take you up on that offer. I'm going to see exactly what we could do in Detroit, but I'm going to challenge you a little bit also. I'm going to say you should bring your gallery. We still have 30 days left before the is opening up in New York City, and let's see how we can work an agreement out to bring your gallery to showcase some of the artists that you talked about from the Detroit market to bring to New York and really make it a family affair.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that.
Wow.
Put that together.
Going down in real time here.
And I think it can be fantastic. You know, we're actually in a new facility. For the first time, we moved out of Harlem. We moved out of Harlem for a couple of reasons. We found that the growth of the show and the amount of individuals, we were bursting at the seams at the church. And it was phenomenal at the church, but we were on 3 or 4 or 5 different floors. Man, we decided for 15, let's come right into New York City. So we're at this phenomenal venue called the Glass House. It's on 660 12th Avenue between 50th and 49th Street, right across from Pier 88. And it's just unimaginable in terms of a big straight floor, glass all around, and again, accessible for everybody to come. So we're looking for that 10 to 15,000 people over the 3 days. And really, we've got some galleries that you're going to really be proud of. We're bringing in the Soweto Fine Art Gallery out of South Africa. First time they're in New York City. We're bringing in the Band of Vice, and that's a band out of LA. It's a art gallery out of Los Angeles, out of Compton. We have a Memphis gallery called Watercolors. Phenomenal, headed up by Danny. We have E&S Gallery, a renowned gallery out of Kentucky. We have a special couple of galleries coming out of Ghana. And last but not least, we have the Harlem Art Alliance. That is
Vosa and Company. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yes. Very nice.
To represent locally.
All right. Love it.
And then we have, last but not least, because of our last conversation, the young lady from Detroit, and we're going to put her gallery right on the roster to be able to showcase their works along with the rest of our galleries. And besides that, we have about 40 or 50 artists, emerging career artists that really will showcase some phenomenal work.
Wow. NightWatchman, I'm really, really, how should I say, kind of like gratified when I hear these type of collaborations that really just materialize. Just so Dion props, Misha props for, hey, as I say, making it happen.
Yeah.
So Michelle, this looks good.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in there and say that we're doing this locally with my chapter, Kappa Alpha Tau Omega chapter from Harlem. But Dion, so I'm gonna challenge you that we take this to the regional level. I'd like to mention my regional director, Alicia Paguez-Spearman, and then maybe in our future we will have a national program with the AKAs. Right now, our national president is Sora Danette Anthony Reed, and we all focus on the arts and cultures and uplifting our community. So I would love to see the show go from a local level in New York City to a regional level and quite possibly a national level, and the show become a part of Kappa Alpha.
And you know something, Michelle, I'm going to help you in this instance, because we should ask the consumers that are listening to this show and the audience to support the AKAs. When you buy a ticket for opening night, a portion of that goes directly back to the AKAs for scholarships, for
service projects,
the
community.
And that's the whole reason we developed the relationship, so we can give back through the community, through consumers, through your radio audience. So really, let's help Michelle out. It's important. It's important. And let's help ourselves out as a team, because this should be a team effort. Okay?
All right.
Yeah. So we should say how you can get a ticket. And Dion can share the Eventbrite link. But if anyone wants to reach me as a representative of Tau Omega chapter, we're selling our tickets. I can be reached at Michelle Hardy 805 @gmail.com, and I can provide you with a link to purchase your tickets to the opening night, which is being called the event at the Glass House, and that is Friday, February 24th.
And
Gotcha.
I don't want to just give you a link to come to the Harlem Fine Arts Show to buy the ticket, because for opening night, I think we should push all the tickets to the AKAs. AKAs are important, and this is important. So you can go directly to the AKA's Harlem Fine Arts Show opening night, purchase a ticket, and it's given back to the community. And that's our emphasis, because we all work as one, and we need to just get focused like this and get down with the program. Right, Michelle?
Yes, and come out and have a fabulous time and enjoy the art. That night there'll be cocktails and serves and recognition of unsung heroes in our community. I believe that Friday night we're going to be highlighting political figures in the community. And, Saturday night, healthcare professionals. And I have personal members. So C. Virginia Fields, who has
yes.
So her name is known in the New York City area. She served New York City as a councilwoman in the past, and she's going to be honored on that Saturday evening. And she's a member of Tau Omega chapter.
Wow. And so that you mentioned that, Michelle, I do know, like you and your other history and career and pharmaceuticals, especially dealing with HIV, that was also C. Virginia Fields, I know, a lane and claim to fame there as well.
Executive Director of the National Black Leadership Commission on AIDS, which she now still leads, but it's been renamed the National Black Leadership Commission on Health. So it has a more total focus on health, in addition to HIV and AIDS, but diabetes, hypertension, all the disease states that plague our community and where we're disproportionately represented in terms of morbidity from those diseases. So, I salute her in the work that she still continues to do in the healthcare field.
And Virginia Fields, along with the other medical professionals, we've been highlighting their prestigious work and their unsung hero type of work for the last 6 or 7 years. We found that it's important to select with the National Medical Association some of the top doctors in our community, so we can lift them up on our shoulders to show how much we appreciate them, and again, ultimately, what they do for us in the long run.
Excellent. Okay. So let me understand this. Dion, once again, we're talking about the glass building. We're talking about, I'm assuming, off of the West Side Highway. What is one of the cross streets there?
The cross streets are 49th and 50th Street. It's called the Glass House.
Glass House.
Gotcha. It's 660 12th Avenue. And you can't miss it. And we'll have it lit up, and we'll have a little banner or something like that. But please come on and support, because it's not just supporting the Harlem Fine Arts Show. It's really supporting our Black artists. And that's so important in these days and times.
And important to add is valet parking, because in New York City, it's hard. So that might determine whether folks will come out or not. So they haven't made arrangements for parking.
Okay, that's good. And let me understand this too. In terms of Harlem Fine Arts Show, you must be a Black artist, artist of color.
No, you have to be an artist that paints under the persuasion in terms of the imagery that you produce of African diaspora, so that you can be any color, because I think art transcends race, color, and creed. And we've actually seen that our show has become more of a melting pot over the last 5 to 6 years. About 10 to 15 years ago, this was a 99% African American show. predominantly African American women, about 65 to 70%. And the brothers came with them, the women to represent. But we find that the show now has a great deal of general market buyers coming traditionally from Midtown up to Harlem. But now everybody will be in this new facilities, and the facilities are very nice. You couldn't ask for better ones. And last but not least, it really makes the artists very, very comfortable. And they'll be great with their meet and greet types of opportunities with you guys.
Gotcha.
And if I might add, I just recently met a member of AKA that's a part of the art show, and she's a quilter. And so, different mediums, right? And her name is Myra Brown, but she's a member of the Brooklyn chapter. So I'm excited to go to the show to see her work. She's currently putting together her collection. And so just to say that there's all types of art that we can appreciate in the show, highlighted in the show.
And just a note on Dr. Brown, it's Dr. Myra Brown. She's an art historian. She actually works a great deal at Medgar Evers, and she used to be at City College. She really blew up the market with the actual type of art she does. She does the actual clothing type of weaving and gallery work, as well as being a painter. So she's just all across the board and just outstanding. And I'm proud that she's an AKA member too.
Very.
I have to say a word about Dr. Brown as well.
Go ahead, say it.
Dr. Brown actually envisioned and launched the Windows on Amsterdam Gallery when she was at City College, and kind of ushered me into their position as curator after she left. So she's really, I have to get my work with City College that I've done consistently for the past, oh gosh, we figured it out, but it's been a lot of years. So I'm grateful to her for that.
Misha, is really exciting how we're all connected. We're really a village, and it's exciting to hear how we all know each other. I have to shout out Delta Rho Omega. That's the chapter that Dr. Brown belongs to. So I have to give them a shout out, or I know I'd never hear the end of it.
Well, hold it now. Michelle, last time I mentioned the Delta, my reception wasn't as nice. So what's up with that? So there is
chapter.
What's up with you and the Deltas? You got to give the AKA some love.
You just walked into that door, bro. I don't even understand why you would do that.
Well, hold it. A night watchman, you're supposed to be my guardrail for God's sake.
I can't help you if you've already walked off the ledge. I can't. If I see you going toward the ledge, I'll pull you back. But if you're already over, I was like, well, I'll throw a rope down. But Dion, I've got a question for you, and it's about the name of the show, Harlem Fine Arts Show. Now, I'm of the opinion that all arts are fine arts, but I also know that in defining it as fine arts, it's about elevating it, and in particular, giving the artists who normally have not had access to the so-called traditional channels of fine art to be able to be elevated and celebrated. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, I think we've evolved as a show, and we've evolved as a culture in regards to Black fine art in a way. I think originally we did not show any clothing or anything like that in any way, shape, or form, because that was considered craft. But now, in today's time, there's artware. That's very impactful, that some of the most renowned and outstanding artists actually use that as a way to express themselves and showcase their work. Yes, it's a fine art show because this is where there's a blending of, and you don't have to only be an academic scholar to be able to produce fine art. We found that some of our self-taught artists are the best of the best, and they are, again, self-taught, and they learned from their eye as well as from reading and just basic information. So fine art in the African American community is a cross section of a lot of things that come together. And with fine art at the Harlem Fine Arts Show, we extend fine art, but we showcase the best of the best from the Irwins, the Jacob Lawrence, some of the traditional Elizabeth Catlett types of works, to some of the works that are now emerging artists that are a little more affordable and that really are showing the new visions in the art community. So fine art can be from one spectrum to the other, and I think a lot of it is in the eye of the beholder also.
Nice. So, you know what? I'm a little curious about you, Misha, in terms of your process, and well, two things. What made you decide to pursue? Because you know what, we've often heard about a starving artist. That's one, and then two, also realizing some innate talent within your son, Yvonne. Essay. I'm sorry. Tell me about that. When you recognize that, did you cultivate his interest in art?
Well, I think when you grow up in a household that's full of art, I'm an artist. You can barely walk a step here without bumping into a piece of art, as well as a collector, as well as an arts educator and arts administrator for the Children's Art Carnival, where my kids also took classes when they were younger. So, both of my kids have just grown up in a world of art. So cultivating that is just a kind of natural part of everyday life. Is, did you eat your breakfast? Did you do your homework? Did you finish that drawing? So
well, now remember, I know that art has not been, let's say, the only thing that you've done, 24/7. That you also, as you say, getting paid 9 to 5. What types of positions have, let's say, you participated in where art, you've been able to do the art, but also give something to the community or young people?
Right. I mean, fortunately, all the work that I've done has fed my passion for art, but also allowed me to help and support others in the process, including being program director at the LeRoy Neiman Art Center, where we got the opportunity to provide art workshops for community kids, for schools, and also support and exhibit the work of emerging local artists. Same with the Children's Art Carnival. We served, at the time that I was there, about 1,500 kids per year from Harlem and around the city. And also later, I worked with the Anne Frank Center. I actually worked with them up until the pandemic, and also with Symphony Space. I worked with Symphony Space from about 2002 until, actually, this was the first year I didn't work with them since 2002, where we went into schools throughout the city, also in New Jersey, sometimes even a little bit upstate. And we would teach kids about different cultures by looking at their art, and ultimately take them to the museums where they would be able to see and engage with the art in person. So that's been a real blessing, just to be an artist, but also to be able to connect with people, to educate, to help, and to support people through art.
Gotcha. Well, I guess I have to ask Dion. So potentially Bob's stick figures, do you think they could make it to the show?
Bob, let's send it through the jury process. Let's see what happens.
Bob, you knew I had to get that out there. You knew that.
Listen,
okay.
bro, I am an artist, so don't play, because you might show up at the show and see my stuff in there. So don't, and then you'll be forced to buy, which I know is painful for you.
Well, speaking of which, okay, somebody weigh in on this. Certainly, we do know that there are folks, as they say, are collectors, no doubt. Should we look at art, especially from Black artists of color, who actually, as you say, Dion, participate in the diaspora? Should we look at the purchase or acquisition of that art as an investment?
Yes, of course. I think that's one of the best investments that you can make in the market now in terms of African diasporic art, Black art. I think it's great to buy a piece that it doesn't necessarily have to be $10,000 or $20,000. I think first of all, you buy pieces that you enjoy and that might become aesthetically more valuable as the years go on. I think it's a learning process. I would always advise somebody to really take a little seminar or a lecture series on how to purchase art and some of the variables that you need to put into the fact that this is something, is it going to be for your home? Is this going to be a collecting person type of perspective? Is this going to be something that I make a major investment for a wealth management type of opportunity that I will pass on to my children, and it will grow in terms of equity? So there's a number of different stages that you can really look at, but really an educated consumer is the best consumer around. Please learn about it, talk to people about it, and when you come to the shows, don't necessarily look to spend $20,000 or $30,000 unless you know what you're doing in that perspective. Really kind of pace yourself, start small, develop an interest, develop a collection, and grow the collection. So it's an ongoing process. And if you find an emerging artist or an artist that you really like, continue to work with that artist. Collect that particular artist in itself, because that artist might be the next Bearden or Basquiat or something like that. So really, just go through the process. And most of all, it's always sometimes considered stuffy at some of the galleries. When you come into the Harlem Fine Arts Show, it's like coming home. It's coming home where you can talk to people, you can get insight about what are you saying on the canvas, and in terms of people of color, this is the one aspect in our lives where we get unfiltered types of visions and emotions and thoughts, because it's from the artist to you, and it doesn't have to really go through anybody else, but it's their vision coming directly to you, and you understanding it and embracing it or not.
Beautiful. And also, Dion, I understand that there is something, I don't want to put it out there and blast and have everybody heard storm the place, but understand that there's going to be a little something happening at the Dwyer Cultural Center.
Yes, we're going to kick off the Harlem Fine Arts Show for the 15th anniversary, and that'll be this Thursday. Traditionally, we did an event at the New York Times, and then we brought the show up to the Riverside Church. We're flipping the switch in a way right now. We're going to kick it off in Harlem and show diversity coming to New York City, because this is the first time that we're really having a major art show of color in New York City. And there's a whole bunch of art shows like the Armory and Scope and all of these other shows, but very few artists of color. But when you're coming here, the Harlem Fine Arts Show, you know what type of art you're going to be getting. You know what you're going to be seeing. It might be a little greater or less. It'll be a different perspective, but you know what you're coming for, and you know where the empowerment is coming for these multicultural artists. It's important. We got to support ourselves. We have to support ourselves.
Dion, I have to mention Andrew Nichols. He was one of the first artists to invite me to one of the shows at the Armory that year. So I'm going to give him a special shout out.
Nichols is one of my partners. Him as well as Chris Roberts. We formed a trio, and we all brought different components to the Harlem Fine Arts Show, and we've still stayed together for 15 years, which is remarkable in itself. But we all have a love for each other. We all support each other, and we know it's not about us. This is about our community. This is about empowerment in terms of economic, social, as well as just the whole ball of wax in regards to Black art. And we support each other in that instance, and we'll stand on each other's shoulders to make this a better show.
Night Watchman, you hear that? There is hope for us. You hear that? All right. So also, okay.
There's hope for me. I'm not sure about you.
Well, Michelle, you have to tell me in terms of your connection to art. Does the art speak to you? Does the show speak to you? Is that how you got involved? And also hearing what Dion said in terms of looking at art as an investment, a passion. Is that something that speaks to you?
Yeah, so I've been going for a while, and I think I'm more of the shopper for the home. So I mentioned Andrew because he's an artist that I knew invited me to the show, and I really had a true appreciation for his work. And so I started small, like Dion said, and was mostly just exposed to the work that Andrew shared with me through his gallery. And then in being invited, yes, the art show speaks to me. Is because you do see all forms of art, different expressions. I think the common thread is the African Diaspora, and so it's all different expressions of art. Young artists, artists from across the country, and so it was something new for me, and so that's why it's important. As a member of my organization, I feel that as an AKA, I can open that up to my community, my neighbors, children in the community. I know Dion's doing something with some students over the course of the weekend up in Harlem. And so it's a way of exposing our folks to, something that we may not know much about. And so it was definitely a learning experience, and it was a beautiful learning experience for me because I didn't have a lot of exposure in like 15 years ago. But I'm the buyer that Dion says. I started slow, and my first year, I think I just walked around and looked. And then, but over the course of time, I have invested in pieces. Yes.
Gotcha.
I do want to say that the Friday night that my chapter is hosting, this is a Divine Nine night. So the Divine Nine is, again, made up of 9 different organizations. So I'm extending an invitation to the Delta Sigma Thetas, Alpha, the A Phi A, the Omega Psi Phis. I don't want to miss anybody. So if you give me 1 second to call them all out. Hold on.
All right. Get that Divine Nine. I remember now.
Okay, the Kappas, the Omegas, Delta Sigma Theta, Phi Beta Sigma, Zeta Phi Beta, the Sigma Gamma Rhos, and Iota Phi Theta. So it's 9 organizations. I'd love to see you all out that evening. And it will be an evening of fun, and more importantly, an evening where you can get to enjoy the art that will be on display.
Wow, absolutely. All right. Well, you know what, Night Watchman. So since the time, because I do remember, especially you being one of these anime people in terms of the comics, I do remember you having showing some talent in that sphere. So I'm just asking, are you still pursuing it? That's all. That's
no, that's, I don't know what you remember.
I'm not coming for you. I'm not coming for you.
No,
I swear.
but I was a comic writer, not a comic artist. So, yeah.
Okay. So I get. So Dion, you can relax. He will not be applying for admission.
No, I didn't say that. Don't stop. Why don't you stop speaking for me, bro?
Okay.
I try to keep pulling you back from the ledge, and you just keep walking right off.
All right, then. You know what? Ask what you're going to ask. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, first of all, we're just so grateful to have all of you here on this show. It's so important, the work that you're doing for our community, because elevating our art and culture is really important, because sometimes we take it for granted and other people come along and say, hey, that's really valuable, let me scoop it up. And so I think that we have to be in a mode where we are the first ones to elevate our own culture in our own community. And the way you put this show together, where it's not only about the culture and it's about the art, but the community is weaved in together to make it all work, is just to me emblematic of where we're supposed to be in 23. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Very nice.
Absolutely.
Please come up to our website. It gives you all of the information about the Harlem Fine Arts Show. It talks about the past honorees. It talks about the organization, and really gives you a little history. It's HFAS.org. That's HFAS.org. And really just have a pleasant evening with it. And I'm going to look forward to seeing everybody in earshot to come and be a part of the show and have an enjoyable evening with the Harlem Fine Arts Show family.
Yeah, I'm definitely psyched. What about you, NightWatchman?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So definitely, I'm thinking about, let's say, how do you envision the let's say the night of? I understand, yes, Michelle, I did hear there will be some cocktails, hors d'oeuvres, and so forth. But we could also have tons and tons of art. And based on your conversation with, of course, Misha, Dion, that you're also open for other galleries to potentially make an appearance there.
We still are recruiting galleries. We are still looking for the best of the best artists. Please go up on that same website and you can actually apply. And I will speak with you directly in regards to how you can come aboard and all the nuances about making you successful as an artist or a gallery. And I can't wait to get the opportunity to talk to Misha a little bit more, because I'm excited about Detroit coming down to New York.
I'm excited too. And thank you for the invitation.
I have a question for Dion. Whose art is behind you on the wall there? Was that part of the Fine Arts Show?
Yes. I have a little gallery in the house, as Misha was saying. My kids were fortunate enough. Every wall is filled, and we always try to get additional walls and see how we can make this. This gentleman is from Ghana. His name is Alfred Aldo, and he just does some phenomenal stuff. He
oh yes.
Wow.
And he's been in the show. He'll be here in New York again. And again, you'll love every minute of it. Please come. HFAS.org.
Wow, man, oh man.
Michelle, you have a good eye.
Yeah, on the Zoom calls.
Yeah, well, okay. So besides of course, your AKA paraphernalia, what do you got? Let me see some of your background there. Okay.
So I have my AKA paddle.
Yes.
With our shield. I have a staff. I participate in the African American Day Parade every September. And the AKAs was out this last year. We had a record number of almost 400 members marching up Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard. It was beautiful. We painted Harlem pink and green.
Ah, yes, those colors. That's right.
Yes. My boulevard.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You are an ACP person, huh?
Yes. That's the heart of Harlem. That's the place to be, Misha.
Yeah, absolutely. And just for context, remember, old school Harlemites can still refer to it as 7th Avenue.
Yes.
Or 8th Avenue, which is Frederick Douglass Boulevard. But yes. Yes. well. Here's the. I guess the other thing, Dion. Do you guys do any commissioned works?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we just one of our sponsors that came aboard was JetBlue, and they wanted something unique for their new hangar that is actually going to be in Terminal T at JFK, and they got one of our artists to actually put together a mural of Bessie Coleman.
Wow.
And actually with one of her planes in the background. It's going to be fascinating. We'll actually be in at JetBlue February 13th for a week, showcasing the show and just highlighting some of the attributes of the Harlem Fine Arts Show. This is during their carnival rush, so we're actually going to showcase during that time period. And then last but not least, we'll kick off the mural. And we don't have a definitive date, but when I do get a date, I'll get it back to you, so everybody can be on the lookout when they actually come through the terminal, because Bessie is looking good.
Excellent. That is perfect. So I also want to know, so certainly we do know that the Harlem Fine Arts Show has a national presence. Thoughts in terms of an international presence?
We started the international presence when the pandemic came. We had to take a hard stop because we couldn't travel. That regional show shut down in a way, and we had the opportunity through our technology group to go over to London and Bulgaria, and we built a platform on the Harlem Fine Arts Show site now, and you can go up there, and if you go up onto the site, and there's no cost, there's about 40 galleries up there, and you can actually purchase some phenomenal work that's cost effective, and you can actually email the artist directly. They'll call you back or email you back, and the conversation takes place, and the artist actually purchase. I've noticed that our business has expanded to an international and national type of entity where people are buying from Scandinavia, Germany, from Paris, from London, from the West Indies, from South America. Our artists are selling to those particular entities directly, and we no longer just count on our regional shows. We're up 365 days a year, 24/7, and you can always get a great look at some of the established and emerging artists. And really something important too is we developed a relationship with the historically Black colleges. I'm a CU guy myself. I came out of Atlanta University at and so we went to Morehouse, Spelman, Clark Atlanta, Howard, and Morgan State, and we developed a virtual presence. So they selected 2 of their outstanding students in the virtual arts program, and we actually we made galleries for them, and they sell their work, and all the monies for the work go directly to the university or to the students, and we're just a vehicle in terms of empowering them. So it's a great way for us to develop a think tank with the university. It's a great way to give back to the HBCUs because they're so important. And last but not least, it helps our younger artists get some money in their pocket and also put some money in the college's pocket too.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm kind of like thinking, I know, Bob, you were going to start a rap, but I was wondering, Misha, in terms of the thought of bringing a Biennale to Harlem, has that been an idea that's been explored or what?
To Detroit?
No, I said Harlem.
Oh, okay.
But Detroit can come after Harlem. Yes, indeed.
That was a project that kind of took off a couple of years ago and was never really realized. I know that if you remember, Ed Hillel and a group of us had formed, but the group did eventually dissolve. So I don't know if anyone in the group is continuing to pursue it, but it's definitely something that, you know, we need to get back to, or someone needs to get back to and make it happen.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Dion, you hear the wish list that we have. Maybe bringing that type of what is that, like every 4 years, every 2 years? What?
Every 2 years. At the same time, the Harlem Fine Arts Show may have filled that void.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
there may not be a need necessarily to do both, especially with the Harlem Fine Arts Show having you know, grown to where it is now.
There's always room for one more. There's always room for sharing. So maybe we can work on combination efforts. So I'd like to sit and collaborate about what you're doing in that instance, and again, how we as individuals who work in the Black art world, how we can unify and be a little more impactful for each other.
Right.
Beautiful. NightWatchman.
Well, we've got to wrap up. I'd like to thank all of you for participating in this great show, and maybe give you guys some final thoughts before we go.
Yes.
Well, I have a final thought.
Okay. Good.
I'll try to be brief. At City College, Aaron Davis Hall, City College Center for the Arts, we are putting up a new show with local artists from Nigeria, Doba Afolabi, and we don't have the opening date just yet, but you can check the website, City College Center for the Arts.org. And we just de-installed 100 Years of Harlem, which was on exhibit there for the entire semester from September to December. And that was the second iteration of the show that had shown at Christie's as a benefit for City College earlier this year.
Oh, yes. I think I remember that one. Okay.
Yes. So that show, we're in the process of taking that down and putting up Doba's show, which will be equally exciting. So please check their website for the opening dates. And you can also visit Aaron Davis Hall at any time during their business hours to see the exhibition. And in Detroit, my gallery, Irwin House Gallery, in partnership with Norwest Gallery of Art, another gallery in Detroit, and the Detroit City Office of Arts, Culture, and Entrepreneurship, is putting together a citywide initiative connecting 16 Black-owned and operated arts and cultural spaces throughout Black History Month. And information for that, we're just cross-promoting the events and exhibitions and programs at each site, and offering a calendar and tours to visit each site. And the website for that is called Sacred Spaces, the project, because our spaces are sacred. And the website for that is sacredspaces-tourdetroit.com.
Beautiful.
And that is all for now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. You're up.
Well, my final thought is just that I would love to see as many of our Pan-Hellenic members of the Divine Nine present on Friday, February 24th. I am honored to be on the show representing my organization, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And I just want to give a big shout out to all my members from Tau Omega chapter as toward the greater heights in Harlem.
All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. And of course, close it out, Dion. What do you got to say?
I got an announcement to make, and I guess we'll make it on your show this is the first time that we are doing it to the public, and this will be announced on Monday or Tuesday. The Harlem Fine Arts Show is changing its name this year for a special reason. It's going to be called Lexus of Manhattan presents the Harlem Fine Arts Show for the 15th anniversary. And this will be sponsored by Lexus of Manhattan, Cadillac of Manhattan, Toyota of Manhattan, and we will also be sponsored by JetBlue. And we have 2 other sponsors that I'm going to leave off that list to reach the final contract. But this is the first year that the corporate community has really come and stood up for the Harlem Fine Art Show in this major way. So I wanted to salute our corporate sponsors. And again, please come to the Harlem Fine Art Show, HFAS.org. It's going to be the hippest trip that New York has seen in quite some time. Please come and join us. And thank you guys for inviting us.
That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dion, if I say a name, Stephen Ross Johnson, does that resonate at all?
Stephen Johnson is my guy. Stephen Johnson is the brand ambassador for Lexus and for the other 2 automotive companies. Yes. Stephen and I went to Atlanta University together.
Oh my God!
Way back in the day, and Stephen has worked intricately with the Harlem Fine Art Show for many years. So he has helped us put this together. And thanks for bringing up his name.
Absolutely.
Thank you. DJ LeRoy is going to connect us after the show, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You do that so well.
I gotcha. NightWatchman, as they say, take us home.
Listening to WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem, the Soul Lounge primetime show, also live streaming on YouTube and Facebook, and you can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms. We're always here on Monday night with the best that Harlem and the diaspora has to offer. Thanks for joining us, and come back soon.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Nice meeting everybody.
Bye-bye now.